She had, for the better part of that decennial span, always firmly believed in the theory that conflict arose primarily out of a deep-seated primeval complex born from the individual's own desire for loss of control. We were made to pause before we spoke, and kept small cards in our pockets arranged in such a way as to signify one of the many emotional states inscribed into the human experience. When one of us raised our voices, as so often was the case in our household, we would place the correlating card on the table and explain to the others what private need of ours had vulcanized into a kind of disharmonic familial friction. Initially, we protested, as the young love to do with any blazing passion of the day. We would drag our boots and raise objection. But very quickly we learned that her theory of man was one that tended to frighteningly and consistently align, more often than not. Less so much with the misguided and superstitious as it did with the empirical. So, much to our own dismay, we adopted her teachings. And, soon after, our household became very quiet. Mother would go on to remove the locks from our bedroom doors, as, in her mind, privacy bred secrecy, which in turn bred resentment, which in turn rotted a home from the inside outward. She would routinely review our once personal journals as a straightened misunderstanding into a corrected realm of well-being. And Sister would cry at dinner. Mother would sit with her until midnight, patiently paring wheat from the chaff as she flayed the young girl's neural entanglement, asking why she had seen it fit to externalize her own despair and cast a shadow onto the room. Sister rarely cried after that. Father was always less adamant about our shift in lifestyle, espousing concerns adjacent to his perceived personal truth of quieted homes often holding kegs of reactive powder. This was to be expected, of course, for the man was not one to be so open to metamorphic change. He began eventually sleeping in the den before then moving to stay with his brother. Mother outlined, calmly and clearly, that often even among those that were of age, stability and responsibility often looked to them a terrible beast of the night, as both forced a confrontation of the self. We did not mention him much after that. Unusually mature, highly mannered, upright, and wiser beyond our years. These were the accolades awarded to us by neighbors and mentors alike. We never misspoke, never raised a fuss, and could apologize in advance to such a degree as to confuse the present party to where they hadn't the smallest of theories for what we possibly could have even done. And even now, I've held on to her teachings in my old age, with my spouse and I creating our own cards with the full spectrum of human emotion. When our youngest begins to cry, I try to understand, and to help her understand as well, why it is she sees it fit to externalize her own inner despair and cast her shadow onto the rest of us.